दोस्तों स्वागत है आप सभी का हमारे YouTube चैनल मैथमेटिकल पाठशाला में। लास्ट लेक्चर में हम लोगों ने अलजेब्रिक एक्सटेंशन के बारे में डिस्कस किया था। आज उसी कॉन्सेप्ट को थोड़ा और आगे बढ़ाएंगे और कुछ और बेसिक टर्मिनोलॉजी को जानेंगे और कुछ क्वेश्चन देखेंगे जो थोड़े से स्टैंडर्ड क्वेश्चन है। और लास्ट टाइम मैंने आपसे एक चीज़ पूछी थी, सपोज वी हैव टू अलजेब्रिक एलिमेंट्स एंड व्हाट कैन यू से अबाउट देयर सम, देयर सब्ट्रैक्शन, their product and their division, provided division is well defined, or quotient when quotient is well defined. So to answer that question we will learn some more concept. Suppose first I talk about this structure. You have any base field f, you are taking an extension k over f and degree of this extension is 2, and I am also assuming one more thing, characteristic of f is not equal to 2. Soon I will answer why I am choosing this characteristic of f is other than 2. What can you say about this extension? How this extension will look like? Clearly this is a finite extension, so it has to be algebraic extension because every finite extension is algebraic, that we have already proved. So we are looking for a particular type, for a fixed extension of degree 2 which covers all the extension of degree 2. So what can you say about this k? How this k will look like? Suppose if this is a 2 degree extension, so it basis must contain 2 elements. So I am choosing an element, say alpha, from k minus f. So this alpha is not in k. I can have this extension, say f alpha, the field generated by f and alpha, and this is the smallest field. So I can say this f alpha is contained in k and this contains f properly. This contains properly since alpha is not inside f. And also this f alpha contains f properly, so its degree of extension must be at least 2, and this k is a 2 degree extension, so I can directly say, since dimension of k over f is 2, dimension of f alpha over f is 2, and they both are vector spaces over f, and same dimensional vector space over same field must be isomorphic. So this will give us, this k is nothing but a f alpha. So every 2 degree extension is a simple extension. Moreover, I can give you more criteria. What can you say about this alpha? This f alpha is a 2-dimensional vector space over f. So its minimal polynomial will be of degree 2. Let me choose minimal polynomial of alpha over f. Say this is of the form x square bx plus c, because minimal polynomial is a monic, irreducible, unique polynomial of minimal degree. So this is a 2 degree unique irreducible monic polynomial which has alpha as a root. So if alpha is a root, I can say this alpha square plus b alpha plus c must be 0. We can find this alpha will be minus b plus minus b square minus 4ac. This characteristic of f is related with this 2 because you are computing this alpha with the coefficient inside f. This 2 is a member of f, but as you divide with 2, if your characteristic 2, then this is not well defined. You cannot divide with 2. So to divide this 2, that is why we need this characteristic of field is other than 2. And we have always seen the characteristic of a field is 2, then those are special cases, or you can say those are exceptions. Not exceptions, you can say this is those are special cases. In case of linear algebra, we have already seen. So this alpha is minus b plus minus b square minus 4c by 2. What can you see about this p square minus 4c? I can say this is not square. This is not square in f. Why it is not an square in f? Square means there is some element such that this can be written as that element is square. That means I am saying this is not square in f. That means b square minus 4c is not equal to some t square for any t inside f. That means this is not a square in f. Why it is not a square? Why it is not an square in f? because if it is a square in f, that means this b square minus 4c square root can be written as some element inside f. This b is already inside f because minimal polynomial you write over f. So this b is already inside f, c is already inside f. So if your this element is inside f, then its rational combination or its rational multiple will be inside f, but you have chosen your alpha from k minus f. So this alpha cannot be in f, that means this cannot be a square in your f. So if it is not in a square, let me write this extension also. This we know this is already k. I write this extension f square root of b square minus 4c. इस टाइप के क्वेश्चन आपको इंटरव्यू में पूछ सकते हैं. सपोज वी हैव अ 2 degree extension. What can you say about the form of this k? So I am giving you the explicit form of k. This b square minus 4c is not a square. This b square minus 4c. Can I say this is f square root of d, where d is not a square in f. The same technique you use in case of field of rationals. If your f is field of rational, then in place of d, as you have written d, you will write d is a square free integer. So here I claim that these two fields are same. Let's observe why these two fields are same. Clearly this f contains b, this f contains the square root of b square minus 4c. So this field must contain combination of b and square root of b square minus 4c, and this 2 is already available in f. So if you take the multiple of this or multiple of this two elements, this is again going to be inside your this structure, because b is already there because of this polynomial. This square root is available in this, so their multiple with 2 will be there, or multiple with 1 by 2 will be there. So alpha you can write in this combination, and this combination is already available here. So alpha belongs to this, f is already present here, and this f alpha, by definition this is the smallest field containing f and alpha. This is another field which contains f, which contains alpha. So this is the smallest field, this contains this f alpha. So this inclusion is straightforward, but the other one is also straightforward, because this b square minus 4c you can write as 2 alpha minus b, and you can take the plus minus sign. So you can say minus plus 2 alpha plus b is equal to b square minus 4c. See, this b square minus 4c can be written as plus minus plus time of 2 alpha plus b. B is already available here, alpha you have inserted, so its combination will be there. So this element is here. So this is the smallest field containing f, and this element is already here, f is already present here. So this is a field containing f and containing this element. So this contains this whole field by definition. So this f alpha is same as this. So every 2 degree extension looks in this format: f square root of d, where d is some square free element in f, or you can say f is this d is not a square in f. So this is the characterization of 2 degree extension. Let me give you one more question. Let alpha belongs to k be algebraic element, be algebraic over f. When I am saying this alpha is algebraic over f, that means this alpha is an algebraic element over f, and we have this situation: k is an extension of f. You can also observe this f alpha contains f alpha square, because alpha is already there, so alpha square must be there, being a field. But if alpha square is there, you cannot say alpha is also there. You cannot say. In case of rational, suppose suppose 2 is there, but its square root is root 2, which root 2 is not available in Q. So that you cannot say. So F alpha contains F alpha square. Give me some certain condition so that I can say this F alpha is equal to F alpha square. This is again a standard question. And let me impose one more condition. If degree of F alpha over F is odd. Clearly this must be finite because I am choosing alpha to be an algebraic extension. So alpha to be an algebraic element over F. So F alpha will be a vector space over F and will be of dimension which is same as degree of alpha, and degree of alpha will be a finite number because it is an algebraic element over F. So if you choose a degree of extension of F alpha over F is odd number, suppose it is of the form some 2k plus 1, then this implies your F alpha and F alpha square, both the extensions are same. Let me give you one particular example. Suppose you are looking for q square root of 2 and q square root of 2 square, which is q2. But if you adjoin 2 into q, you will not get any new structure, you will get q itself. This and this both are different. This is not isomorphic to this. This has a one dimension over q, this has two dimension over q. Here you see the degree of extension of q root 2 over q is 2, which is not an odd number. But if in place of this, if you choose this q2 power 1 by 3, then this extension and this extension both are same. That you can verify. You will verify within a 2 or 3 minutes. Let's see. For a particular, I will just give you a hint. The whole proof you will write by yourself. Suppose the dimension of this vector space F alpha over F is an odd number. So for a particular instance, I choose this odd number to be a 3. So I can write minimal polynomial of alpha over x will be of degree 3. So I will have x cube plus, okay, let me write in this manner, a naught plus a1x plus a2x square plus a3 x cube. Now this minimal polynomial of alpha must satisfy alpha, so I will have this a naught plus a1 alpha plus a2 alpha square plus a3 alpha cube is 0. Now you separate out all the terms with even degree and with odd degree. So you will take alpha common, then you will have a1 plus a3 alpha square, which is equal to minus a naught minus a2 alpha square. You will have this. And clearly this cannot be 0. Why it cannot be 0? Because you have chosen this to be an odd degree extension. So alpha cannot satisfy any 2 degree extension or any 2 degree polynomial. Sorry for the extension. This alpha cannot satisfy 2 degree polynomial. So this alpha can be written as minus a naught minus a2 alpha square. This is a1 plus a3 alpha square. Clearly this linear combination is already inside f alpha square. This is a combination of a naught and 1 and alpha square. This is a combination in 1 and alpha square. So this, or you can say this 1 upon a1 plus a3 alpha square, you can write as a inverse of a1 plus a3 alpha square. So this inverse exists because this f alpha square is again a field. So this is a member of f alpha square. So this alpha can be written as a member of f alpha square. And this f alpha square contains f because f is already present here. If f alpha square contains alpha, that means this f alpha square must contain f alpha because f alpha is the smallest field containing f and alpha. So your alpha is inside f alpha square, that means your f alpha and f alpha square is same. The technique I have used for degree 3, you can write with any odd degree. So in odd degree you will have a polynomial a naught plus a1 alpha plus up to a 2k plus 1 alpha to the power 2k plus 1. So you separate out all the even degree terms, and from the odd degree terms you choose alpha to be common out, then you will have all the term with even degree, or you can say your alpha will be a combination of or a quotient of even degree with even degree that must lie in f alpha square. So this question you may get in your examination also. This may be the new question. अभी तक ये क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछा गया किसी एग्जाम में. Now let me define. If you say this f alpha, you can think of f alpha beta also. You can think in f alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n also. You can think of this structure. Can I say this f alpha beta is same as f alpha beta? Let me write. Let me tell the meaning of this. You know the meaning of this. This is the smallest field containing f and alpha beta, or you can say the field generated by alpha and beta over f. What is the meaning of this? The meaning of this, the smallest field containing f alpha and beta, or you can say this is the field generated by beta over f alpha, where f alpha is a field generated by alpha over f. And meaning of this, you can say the field generated by alpha beta, or the smallest field containing f and alpha and beta. And the meaning here is the smallest field containing beta and f alpha, or you can say the smallest field, or you can say the field generated by beta over f alpha structure. So inductively you can write the definition here. This I can write provided if I prove this statement, otherwise I cannot write this. So this you treat it as a lemma. Let me tell you the proof. This is a simple, just one line observation. No need to write the proof. You observe in this manner. If you take the definition of this, see this f alpha beta, this contains beta, this contains alpha. So this contains f, this contains alpha, this contains beta, and this is the smallest field containing f, alpha and beta. So this contains f, this contains alpha, this contains beta. So by definition of the smallestness, this structure is contained in this. Let's see the other way around. Other way is this, you are saying the field generated by beta over f alpha, but f alpha is already present here, because what is f alpha? F alpha is the smallest field containing f and alpha. Here f is present, alpha is present, beta is also present. So this structure is already here. So that finishes the proof. That means this structure and this structure both are same, and the inductive definition of this you can write in this manner. And any element you can put outside. Okay, I will use this expression soon. Let me write this. Let, suppose we have a tower of extension like this. Suppose we have L, then below we have K, and below we have say F. So F lies below K and K lies below L. So this is a tower of field extension. Then one thinks about this. What can you say about the degree of L over F? And is there any relation between the degree of L over F and degree of L over K and K over F? Can you say this degree and this degree both are same? See, if either of on the right side is infinite, then this is an infinite extension. So in that sense, we do not need to prove anything, because if the sub extension is infinite, then the bigger extension will be infinite. So the main case is when both the extensions are finite. Can you prove then the product of degrees on the right side is same as the product of this is same on the left hand side? Let's see in this. We observe in this manner. We try to prove. Suppose this is your F. This is your say K, and this is your say L. I am not writing proof formally, but I will give you enough hint you can write, or you can say the more than enough hint. See, this K is an extension of F, so it must have some basis if I am assuming the finite cases. So finite case will give me, suppose alpha 1, alpha 2, or say alpha n. This is a basis of K over F. Similarly, I am assuming this L over K is also finite. So L over K must have some basis, say beta 1, beta 2 and beta m. Suppose this is a basis for L over K. Now one thinks naturally the basis here will be like alpha I, beta j, 1 less than or equal to I less than or equal to n, 1 less than or equal to j less than or equal to m. So this becomes a basis, this alpha I beta j, for L over the field F. The proof is very straightforward. Let's see. I will explain you 2 or 3 lines, then you will do by yourself. You choose, first I show that this alpha I beta j spans your L over F. You choose any arbitrary element, say L belongs to capital L. This L has a basis over K, so this L can be written as a linear combination of these elements over the coefficient from K. So I can say this L is equal to, say, K1 beta 1 plus K2 beta 2 plus up to Km beta m for some K1 K2 Km for Kj's belongs to capital K. But now each K or each Ki is an element of K, and K has a basis alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n over F. So K1 can be written as some linear combination of alpha i's with the coefficient from F. So I am writing, say, F1 alpha 1 plus up to Fn alpha n. This is for one element. I can write for any m element. So let's say this is Kj, this is F1j, Fnj, where j is 1, 2 up to m. So this is clear to everyone. So each Kj can be written in this format. You can insert your Kj here, then you will have L is equal to summation I j Fij alpha I beta j, or you can write explicitly also. If you insert K1, then you will have this into beta 1, then in K2 you will insert this. So I am writing here this summation, and this summation is, I am writing I comma j, that means this summation is a double summation. This is varying over I and j. So either you vary first, either you can vary first I, then you operate j, and with this condition. So you can see this L is a linear combination of alpha I beta j, and coefficients are coming from Fij. Fi means these elements are coming from F, because as I have taken K, each Kj can be written as a linear combination of alpha i's over F. So this alpha I beta j, that means this set is a spanning set of L over F, or it spans L over F. Now what remains to show? It remains to show that this is an linearly independent set. Now this is again very easy. See how? You take the combination of 0 element over F. So suppose you are choosing this 0, a summation I j Fij alpha I beta j. What I need to show that each Fij is 0. How I am getting my Fij? Because for each L here, first I wrote this, each L can be written as summation j is running from 1 to m, some ki and beta j, some kj and beta j. But I am choosing for the 0 element, because how I am getting this one? By using L. In place of L, I have chosen 0. So in the previous one, you insert 0 in place of L. Then you will have this combination. This is a combination over K. But this will directly force Kj is 0 for j is equal to 1 to up to m. Why? Because my beta is our basis. So if you take the linear combination with respect to the basis, then 0 will have only unique combination, that is the trivial linear combination. So your each kj is 0. But if your each kj is 0, this will directly force. Suppose k1 is 0, but what is k1? K1 is nothing but f1 1 alpha 1 plus f1 2 alpha 2 plus f1n. Sorry, this is f1 1 f2 1 and this is fn1 alpha n. So this is 0. But again you are having a combination representation of 0 with respect to the bases alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha n over f. But if alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha n are bases over f, then this will force your f11 is 0, f21 is 0, fn1 is 0, and in general your this is j, f1j, this is nj. So this will force each fij is 0. So you have proved here, if you take zero linear combination of 0 element, then it has only trivial linear combination. That means this is a linearly independent set. So this helps us to find the basis for the finite extensions. In case of infinite also, you can think about this. This q has an extension q square root of 2. This has extension q square root of 3. This gives you q square root of 3, square root of 5, square root of 2. This has 2 degree, this has 2 degree, this has 2 degree, this has 2 degree. So this will have degree 4. Either you go with this way or you go with this way, you will have degree 4. Because how can I choose this? I know this q square root of 2 comma square root of 3 over q. I can write in this manner: q square root of 2 comma 3. First I take the extension over this, then I take, so this has 2 degree, because this I can also write in this format: q square root of 3 2 square root of 3. Now you can get the things easily. I am using this one part. If I don't use this part, I cannot write this one. So I am using this theory here. This property also gives very nice result. I will give you very soon. Once you understand this part, let me go further. If alpha and beta are algebraic, okay, not this, let us not write this. If alpha and beta are algebraic, okay, no problem. If alpha and beta are algebraic element of K over the base field F. So we have this extension, say F alpha and beta. What can you say about the basis for this extension, F alpha beta? Okay, let me give you one example so that you can think more about this. Suppose I adjoin this Q square root of 2 square root of 3. I am asking for the basis directly. Can I take the basis like this, root 2 power iota I and root 3 power j? Can I take this basis? Because if you take this combination, the first element will be root 6, second element will be say root 2 times 3. But 3 will not affect us because, okay, you can take no problem. Then you can take 2 times root 3 then you can take 6. But this 6, there is not need to write this 6. You can write in this manner also, root 6, root 2, root 3 and singleton 1. Because if you take some rational multiple of this, that will not affect us. So you multiply, divide with 6 or with some any rational element, that will not affect us basis if the element is non-zero. So you divide with 6 here, divide with 2 here, divide with 3 here, you will have this. So here what I can do, this extension is same as this extension. If I want to find the degree here, say f alpha comma beta over the subfield f, then I can write in this manner, f alpha beta over f alpha this must be finite because alpha and beta both are algebraic element over k over f, of k over f. So alpha has a minimal polynomial over f, which must be a finite degree, but minimal polynomial of f, and if I take the minimal polynomial on f alpha, then that must have some finite degree, because f alpha is a larger structure on f. So every coefficient which is available in f, that are already present in f alpha also. Or you can think about in this way, the minimal polynomial of beta has a finite degree over f. If it has a finite degree over f, it has to have a finite degree over f alpha, because f alpha is a larger structure than f, and this is already finite because alpha is algebraic over f. So here you see, if you choose, suppose say this degree is n, say this degree is m, then we have already proved how this structure looks like. This f alpha you can write as a some a naught plus a1 alpha plus a2 alpha square plus up to a m minus 1 alpha to the power m minus 1, where each ai is coming from f. So this is the definition for this f alpha we constructed. Similarly, you can write the definition of f alpha beta as, say, some b naught plus b1 beta plus b2 beta square plus up to bn minus 1 beta to the power n minus 1, where each bi is coming from f alpha. So this you are getting. Now once you understand this part, you take any arbitrary element of this, because I will not do further. You choose any arbitrary element of this structure, then this will must be a linear combination of beta square beta to the power n minus 1, where coefficient will be coming from f alpha. But f alpha, each element of f alpha looks like a linear combination of alpha 1 alpha square and alpha to the power m minus 1, where each ai is coming from f. So this b naught you can write as a combination of this, b1 as a combination of 1 alpha to the power m minus 1, bn minus 1 is a linear combination of 1 alpha square alpha to the power m minus 1 from over f. That means each element here will be a combination of alpha to the power I and beta to the power j. So you can say this is generated by alpha to the power I, beta to the power j, and this will form a basis because these two will be linearly independent elements. So proof that this is going to be a basis. And one thing I must say, okay, and one more thing, this alpha and beta should be distinct elements, because if you choose the same elements, that will not give you any any good result. They will give you just f alpha and f beta only. They will not give you a same. So try to prove that this alpha to the power I and beta to the power j forms a basis for this f alpha beta over the base field f. So this is, I am leaving it to you. This is directly connected with the previous result. Now once you understand this, let me establish one important property. Let K be an extension of f. I am saying this K by f is finite extension if and only if K is generated by finitely many algebraic elements. Over f. So this is a very nice property. This K by f is finite. This K over f is finite if and only if K is generated by finitely many algebraic elements over f. Before doing the proof, let me tell you this thing. Suppose you are having a base field f, then you will have say f alpha 1, then you will have f alpha 1 comma alpha 2, which is also same as f alpha 1 alpha 2. Then you will have f alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha 3 and so on. You will have like this. Suppose you are writing for this. Then you have seen a relation between the degree. What was the relation? We have seen this one. For I am writing for this too. F alpha 1 comma alpha 2 over f has f alpha 1 alpha 2 over f alpha 1 into f alpha 1 over f. So the degree here will divide this degree, and degree here will also divide this degree, because this divides this and this divides this, and degree is a natural number that comes from the linear algebra section, because you are writing the cardinality of a basis, and cardinality is always some natural number or it is infinite number. Infinite number in the sense of the cardinal number you have seen from a real analysis part. So this degree must divide this, or this degree must divide this. So all the earlier degrees you are having, that must divide the whole degree of the extension from base field to the end. Now let's prove this part. If K over F is a finite extension, the proof is straightforward. The one way is, let K over F is finite. That means it has some finite basis. So you say alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n is a basis of K over F. Once it is a basis, you can say this f alpha 1, alpha 2 up to alpha n. This is your K. You can choose. This is a finite extension. This is also finite extension. So this is an extension which is generated by finitely many algebraic elements. What remains to show? Each alpha I is an algebraic element over F. So for that part, you see this. If I choose f alpha I over f, this must divide the degree of f alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n over f. This must divide this, because this is a base field and this is the last field lying on the top. So this must divide this, and this is already finite because the way you have chosen your K by F is finite. So this is finite, and we already know every finite extension is an algebraic extension, and once it is finite, then this extension is an algebraic extension. That means this alpha I is an algebraic element over F, or you can say every element in f alpha I is algebraic over F. So this force each alpha I is algebraic. Over F. Once you understand this part, let's see the converse, because we have proved that this K is generated by finitely many algebraic elements. What is the converse? If K is generated by finitely many algebraic elements over F, then you have to prove that K by F is a finite extension. This is again very easy, because you see in this manner. If K is generated by, say, alpha 1, alpha 2, say alpha K elements, and each alpha is algebraic, over F, then you need to prove that this K is a finite extension over F. Actually, this is straightforward. Why it is straightforward now? See, this dimension of K over F, you can think in this manner. This is F alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha K minus 1, alpha K, you can think in this manner. And the second part will be, it should be K minus 1. Then here you will write F alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha K minus 1 over F. Then again you will split this part. Then again you will split this part, and you will split till the end. Till the end means, that means you will have, at the last step you will have F at alpha 1 over F. So this is just an intuition to give the idea of proof. See, this alpha K is algebraic over F. So this must be a finite one. Why it will be a finite? Because alpha K has an irreducible polynomial over F. If alpha K has an irreducible polynomial over F, but F alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha K minus 1 is a bigger structure than F. So coefficient of that polynomial must be inside F. So if you can generate your alpha K over F, then this has to be finite. So your this will be finite. Now you split this in a similar manner. Then to the second part, and you will definitely terminate, because you will have only finitely many elements. If you have infinite elements, you are having a problem. But for a finiteness, you do not have any problem. This process has to terminate. So this is the idea of proof. So this whole has to be finite. So I hope you got the idea how to prove this. Actually, I have already given you the complete proof. You just need to write 3 or 4 steps formally. So K over F is a finite extension if and only if K is generated by finitely many algebraic elements, and it has very nice application. See, suppose K is an algebraic element, K is an extension over F. Alpha comma beta belongs to K, be algebraic over the base field F. If alpha and beta both are algebraic over F, then I choose this extension. This is an extension which is generated by alpha and beta. That means it is generated by finitely many algebraic elements. So this extension over F, dimension of this extension must be finite. So this is a finite extension. Also, every finite extension is algebraic. So I can say this is an algebraic extension. And once I am sure that this is an algebraic extension, then every element here is going to be an algebraic element over F. What type of elements I can choose? I can choose any combinations of alpha and beta. So this directly gives me alpha plus minus beta. This gives me alpha beta. This gives me alpha by beta where beta is non-zero, or in particular if I choose my alpha to be 1 then or beta to be alpha, then it will give me alpha inverse where alpha is non-zero, and this definitely exists because we are in a field. So these all elements are the elements of f alpha beta. These all belongs to f alpha beta, and this is an algebraic extension being a finite extension. So it is an algebraic extension, so it directly gives me these all are algebraic elements. That means sum of two algebraic element is algebraic, product of two algebraic element is algebraic, division of two algebraic element is algebraic provided division is defined. Now what can you say about if I collect all the algebraic elements? If you understand this concept, let me ask this question. Suppose K is an extension of F, and this F bar is the collection of all algebraic elements over F. See, this F bar need not to be a subset of K. For a particular example, this R over Q, this is an extension, and if I collect all the all the elements which are algebraic over Q, clearly this iota is an algebraic element over Q because I have this nice polynomial x square plus 1. This is a polynomial defined by choosing the coefficient from Q, but this does not have any root on R. So if I take all the algebraic elements over F, this need not to be the subset of K. This may be a bigger than K. So if I restrict this F bar intersection K, that means collection of all the algebraic elements in K, all the algebraic elements over F which are available in K. So I choose all those elements which are available in K and algebraic over F. Whether this is going to form a subfield or not. And what can you say about this subfield? Definitely it is going to form a subfield, you can write, because this F bar intersection K, this F bar is a field in itself because it is a collection of all algebraic element over F. If you choose any non-zero element, its inverse is already there, because we have proved if alpha is algebraic, then 1 by alpha is algebraic if alpha is non-zero. So this forms a field. Intersection of two field is again a field, or more precisely intersection of two subfield is again a subfield. So this is a subfield of K, this is a subfield of F prime, F bar, and you see this F bar intersection K is contained in K, and this contains F also, because every element in F is an algebraic inside F, because you can choose suppose alpha be any arbitrary element of F, then you have this nice polynomial x minus alpha. This is defined on Fx, and this contains alpha as a root. So every element in F is algebraic in itself. So this is a subfield which is lying between F and K. What can you say about the cardinality of this? In general, we cannot predict the cardinality, but for a particular cases we can predict. Suppose I am asking for this Q bar intersection R. This is contained in R. This is contained in F. Then you can predict the contained in Q. You can predict the cardinality of this. We saw in real analysis, collection of all algebraic elements over Q is a countable set, if you remember, over R. So cardinality of this set is countable because we can define countably many polynomials over Q. We cannot define uncountably many polynomials. So in some cases we can predict the cardinality, but in all the cases we cannot predict the cardinality. But this is a very nice subfield because it lies between F and K. So this is how you can say a sum of two algebraic element is again algebraic, product of two algebraic element is algebraic, and combination of algebraic element is again an algebraic element. So that you can say now. So चलिए आज के लेक्चर को इधर ही ख़त्म करते हैं. In the next lecture we will see some more concept related to this, and we will move to the splitting field if time permits. If we will have enough time, then we will give you the introduction to splitting field. That is going to play an important role for whole field theory, because जितनी चीज़ें पढ़ रहे हैं ये सारी चीज़ें वहाँ पे यूज़ करनी है, और स्प्लिटिंग फील्ड की सारी चीज़ें आपको यूज़ करनी है गैल्वा एक्सटेंशन में, गैल्वा थ्योरी में. आई होप आपको चीज़ें समझ में आ रही हूँ, बट स्टिल इफ़ यू हैव एनी डाउट इन योर माइंड और इफ़ यू हैव एनी सजेशन रिगार्डिंग दिस कोर्स, प्लीज़ यू कैन कमेंट इन द कमेंट सेक्शन so that I can apply those things. I can apply those things in the upcoming lectures, or any feedback regarding this course you can give. Thanks for watching this lecture.